The Jordan River may not be as beautiful as other rivers. Many are much longer, many are far cleaner, and it doesn't flow quite like it used to. But no river has garnered more affection as the Jordan River, and there's a good reason. It isn't the beauty of the Jordan River that inspired centuries of psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs to include it in their verses. Its significance began as a simple geographic barrier, which, practically speaking, represented a border. In fact, the river still represents a border between Israel and the nation of Jordan. But in Scripture, the Jordan River's presence on Israel's eastern edge stood as an enduring metaphor of transition. These transitions point directly to your life as well. For Joshua, crossing the Jordan River meant entering the Promised Land and leaving the leadership of Moses behind. When the priests of God left Jordan's eastern banks and then stepped into the current, the river stopped flowing upstream at a site called Adam. After the nation crossed, Joshua made a fundamental comparison in Joshua chapter 4, verse 23. It says, "For the Lord your God dried up the waters of the Jordan for you until you passed over, as the Lord your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up for us until we passed over." Did you notice? Joshua connected their powerful redemption as a nation to the same power of God that helped them enter into the Promised Land. Another significant transition occurred in the same location on the Jordan River. Elijah transferred the prophetic mantle to Elisha just before Elijah ascended to heaven. And as it had done in the shift from Moses to Joshua, the Jordan River parted for Elijah and Elisha, who crossed on dry ground, as we see in 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 8. It's no wonder John the Baptist chose this same area to baptize people, because the Jordan River represented a place of transition, or you might even say new beginnings. This became the place where John baptized Jesus as well. Mark chapter 1 verses 9 through 11 says, "In those days Jesus came from Nazareth of Galilee and was baptized by John in the Jordan. And when he came up out of the water, immediately he saw the heavens being torn open and the Spirit descending on him like a dove. And a voice came from heaven and said, 'You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased.'" Instead of the waters parting like it did for Joshua, for Elijah, and for Elisha, the heavens parted. The Jordan River, as a place of transition, remains an enduring symbol. Both national transitions and personal ones have occurred right here. But whether national or personal, any new beginning also requires an ending. It requires leaving one shore and crossing the river for another. In each of these circumstances, a significant transition took place. And if there's one thing transition demands, it's change. It demands change. It signifies that there is something that you're leaving behind and something that you have to look forward to. The same is true for us. When we find ourselves in the middle of transition, it can feel like a waiting period, like the Israelites in the desert before crossing the Jordan. And there is a key to making these waiting periods a little bit easier. I've learned from talking to people over the years and even from my own experiences that in order to go through transition well, you must have your identity settled. You've got to know who you are, and you've got to know what you're about. When Jesus was baptized here, he came out of the water and a voice came from heaven and said, "You are my beloved Son. With you I am well pleased." God said, "I choose you. You are my Son, and I don't just choose you, but I love you, and with you I am well pleased." Before Jesus had done any earthly ministry at all, God loved him just as he was. That same love is extended to us today. As Joshua pointed out after crossing the Jordan, the grace of God that redeemed the Israelites from the bondage of slavery is the same grace that is offered to us. Are you ready to cross into a new beginning? Are you ready to enter into this new life that God has for you? Well, step into your identity in the Lord and walk with boldness into the transition that he has laid out for you.